Joins us now to discuss BTC price and all the headlines is Brett Sifling, Director of Get Invested at wealth manager Gerber Kawasaki. Brett, great to have you on the show. So are we seeing crypto winter thawing, or is it too early to tell?
I do think it's a bit too early to tell. I mean, crypto has had a great run this year so far as the Fed has, slightly remained a little bit hawkish, but inflation is decelerating and the macro factors are improving. But, it's still really been range bound since pretty much the last 9 months, since August. There was a high there that I'm watching closely. And, I wouldn't get too excited yet until we, come out of this range and really, have some momentum ahead of us.
Still, are you seeing any interesting trends when it comes to Bitcoin, either on the institutional level or those who are accumulating?
Yeah, one interesting thing I found is the amount of non-zero Bitcoin addresses is actually inching towards an all-time high, if not there already. I believe we're around 42.5 million, within a couple 100,000 of that all-time high. And it shows that more and more people are, getting back into the market, whether it's just with a small amount. It's a very healthy signal for the market, I believe.
And you're saying that folks continue to dollar cost average into the markets?
Yep, we manage crypto for our clients as well as public equities, but we continue to tell our clients to dollar cost average. That's one of the best strategies here, as well as having appropriate, portfolio management techniques within that plan. For example, we don't invest more than 5% of our clients' investable assets into digital assets, and we only hold Bitcoin and Ether primarily because of the wide scale adoption of them, and we do believe that those are the two most important cryptocurrencies that are out there.
Mm-hmm. What other trends are you seeing in terms of VC investments entering into the space?
I've been quite surprised to see that VC investments keep ticking up. You would have thought that in a year like last year, where nearly every single asset class was down, that people would have gotten a little bit more conservative. But you still see these mega funding rounds happening almost every single week, and I think that liquidity coming into the market is also a very healthy and great sign.
You're also seeing some trends heading toward the metaverse and artificial intelligence. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, it seems like that's the talk of the town right now. I mean, last year it was all about the metaverse and what's, going to happen with that, and if we're going to live in a completely digital world. And it really seems like everyone has forgotten completely about that and is really just focusing on artificial intelligence, AI, and how that's going to be integrated with crypto, digital assets, and how people can really leverage it in their everyday life. It's becoming less of this, institutional type product and more into a retail product where people are actually seeing, this impact them day to day.
So we actually did a segment on this morning where we are seeing some AI-related tokens on the market now, I guess capitalizing on this whole ChatGPT phenomenon, Google, Microsoft entering the picture. How do you see AI and crypto interacting with each other?
Again, very early to tell. It's going to be interesting to see what products that people come up with. I think that like with any business cycle, we're going to have a ton of just really wild ideas and money just pumped into the system to see if people can actually accomplish these things. But what's actually going to be practical and what are we actually are going to be able to use and integrate with the blockchain? I think that it's a little far off right now.
All right. In terms of crypto contagion, have we reached a bottom, or are there further dominoes to fall?
Again, that's a very hard question. I think that when we see the Fed and macro factors really continue to change, I think that the bottom could be in. It really kind of focuses around if they can orchestrate this soft landing. If they don't, and inflation does pick up again, I think that people will be less willing to speculate on things like Bitcoin. And ultimately, that could suck some liquidity back out of the market. And we could potentially see us revisit the lows in that scenario. But there's so much happening in the world right now that it's hard to tell either way. It's just going to depend on how this news hits over this year and what actually happens with the data under the hood.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts on, we see the SEC really going after staking. And this latest news that Kraken has settled with SEC to remove staking from the crypto exchange. Do you see any trends with regulation in that direction?
I do. It's very clear to me that the government, innovation has really outpaced the legislation that our government has put forward, and they just can't seem to get a grasp around this. And the longer that all of these people, like Sam from FTX or BlockFi or Genesis or whatever it may be, continue on without actual repercussions for their actions and having some accountability in the industry, I think it's just unhealthy for everyone that's involved. I think that for crypto truly to go to the next level, to this institutional level, we need some sign of trust that our government's going to back us, and that there isn't just going to be the Wild West out there with a bunch of criminals in the industry, because it ultimately hurts the common person. And if we want wide scale adoption, we do need to have these rules in place so that we can ultimately build and have confidence in putting investments into the market and knowing that they're not just going to disappear one day when you wake up.
Brett, finally, where do you see Bitcoin price by the end of the year?
It's difficult to make a prediction on that. If I had to guess, I would say that hopefully we can break those August highs around that 25,000. I'd love to see that by the end of the year.
All right, Brett. Thanks for joining us. That was Gerber Kawasaki, Director of Get Invested, Brett Sifling.